So today we're going to be discussing the patient window in which you enter the patient demographic and insurance information as well as other information used throughout the software. In order for us to be able to set up the patient records, we'd need to click on lists and then patient, select patients in the patient's window opens. We're going to be discussing the important fields and tabs along with the buttons that are important. Over here, we can see that there's a patient chart. You can enter a code for a new patient record, or you may leave the field blank and let Lytec create a unique code based on the last name field. And you can go ahead and click the lookup button in order for you to be able to select an existing patient. Over here, this tiny button over here is going to be the appointments icon that's right next to the patient chart. And this appointment icon is also called scheduler button. If the button is already visible, it means that the patient has a future appointment scheduled. If there's no future appointment, then the button is going to be grayed out, such as if it's active, you would need to click this button to open the appointments tab. You can also go ahead and open the appointments tab, see the appointments for the future or the past appointments that have been already scheduled for the selected patient. Over here, you can see the responsible parties section. This field would display the responsible party for this patient. The responsible party is generally the person who will be billed for the patient's portion of the charges on a bill. And it's usually used for patients that are under 18 years old. Moving forward, we're going to be speaking about the tabs that are present. So the patient window is made up of several tabs. It's going to be the patient information tab, or the primary insurance, secondary insurance, tertiary insurance tab, along with the associations, claims information, diagnosis, reminders tab, contacts, appointments, patient images, as well as the custom fields. And these are going to be discussed in details later on. We can go ahead and see that there are different buttons over here. The new button, which helps you to create a new record. The save is going to be used to save any changes that are made, or if you've added any patient records. Delete will allow you to erase the selected record, which is already opened, as well as there is this responsible party over here. If you click the responsible party button, it's going to give you different options for you to be able to specify the responsible party for the patient that's currently opened. We've got three options over here. The first one is going to be self, which mainly if you choose this radio button, it's going to let the patient itself be the responsible party. If you choose the radio button for another patient and select the lookup window, it's going to allow you to add another patient that's already set up in the patient's window as the responsible party. And if you choose the guarantor, clicking the lookup button in it, then it's going to allow you to choose a guarantor that's been already added under the guarantor's window. There's going to be the patient's button, and it's going to have different buttons under it. The first one is going to be authorization. Usually when a primary care doctor refers a patient to another doctor, an authorization is going to be required from the insurance company. You can use this option to set up as many authorizations and referrals as you need for this patient. You can also click F6. Managed care. Managed care option is going to allow you to set up a managed care plan for this patient, and we can explain this later in details. Updating billings. If you usually make any changes throughout the patient's record, such as the insurance company's information or the patient billing information and other changes on the patient's account, you can go ahead and select this option to allow you to update a bulk amount of billings or even a single billing. Eligibility verification. This can allow you to create real-time eligibility verification, and it's going to be required for a single patient. Usually it's not grayed out. Primary payment. There are actually two ways to be able to enter a primary payment. One of them is going to be through the patient grid or through the patient's window, place we're currently on, and this can be explained later on. Cash fee schedule. This is usually going to assign a fee schedule to a cash patient. For the required fields, in order for you to be able to create or select certain fields to make them as required fields, usually you can use this option to make sure that you're filling in all of the fields that are required by the insurance company to be able to process your claims and make sure that you're not missing any fields. Images. The patient images window lets you scan, import, export, print, and edit images saved for the selected patient. We're going to move ahead to the family button. The family button is going to have two subcategories. One of them is list and the other one is update. For the list, you can use the list family members option to list the family members who are linked to a specific patient or guarantor. And for the update, if you're going to change information in one of the patient's family accounts, you can make the same changes in the other family member's account using the update button. The patient ledger. The patient ledger actually acts as a quick reference option to look at the patient transaction and billing information. So you can simply click on the patient ledger to be able to view all of the transactions, payments that have been done on the account, as well as all of the claims that have been billed. The add patient note is usually not dimmed whenever the profile is actually created. This option actually allows you to add additional information to the patient's record if it's not actually specified as a certain field. You can add extra information, or you can actually leave billing notes along with under the patient notes. We can go ahead and move to the AR management notes. For the AR management notes actually being used to be able to add AR notes while working on the AR tracker. For the save and query, over here, once you click on this button to save a patient's record and initiate the eligibility request, the data actually returns from the eSolution will be populated under the pending patient screen. You can actually verify and modify the data before saving it to the patient records, which is usually over here. Once you click on lists patient, the pending patient list is going to be viewed from here. You can go ahead and move on to the close button. The close button actually allows you to close and exit the entire window. Calculate now. Once you click on this button, it's going to allow you to recalculate all values in the balance and appointments information section to the left. For the inactive checkbox over here, you click this box to make the patient records inactive. You can choose not to display the inactive records in the lookup window. However, inactive records still show on the reports unless you're printing one that excludes inactive patients. The do not perform account balance calculation checkbox. This checkbox actually disables the display of balance calculations. Once it's checked, the setting applies in every window where this information appears, and the Calculate Now button recalculates and displays the information. You can go ahead and move to the section below over here. This section contains patient account balances for each carrier and the patient. We can see over here the copay amount, the next appointment, previous appointment, if there are authorizations for this patient, primary and secondary. It usually gives the authorization count for both.
Don't compromise. Go microwise.